So, today for the podcast, we have a very, very special guest. We have Season 5 contestant, Hibiscus. OMG, spoilers ahead. If you haven't watched the season, stop the video now, go back and watch it, and then come back. Yeah, it's gonna be really good. Really good. I mean, the interview. The season was good. Not as good as my season. Hibiscus, what a journey. What an adventure. What a time. You're here now. The season's done and over. You look great. How do you feel now that everything is said and done? How do you feel about the season and, your portrayal on the season?
I mean, I didn't win, so that doesn't feel good. But aside from that, it could be worse.
It kind of sounds like you're still kind of not over the season, and I'm not trying to be overly familiar or anything here, Hibiscus. It just sounds to me kind of like you're kind of, I don't know, just over it, maybe fatigue. Because if that's I know how it is, girl. After doing my season plus redemption, yeah, I definitely feel it.
Fatigued. Yeah, I'm still kind of jet lagged from filming the season. And I get that it was a while ago, but sometimes it takes more than 6 months or a year to get over the stress of competition.
So is drag for you kind of on hold? Do you think you might postpone any gigs, any appearances, or you might just retire because it was that detrimental for you?
No, not at all. There's no way I'm quitting. And as far as my presentation from the series goes, I think I got what I gave, and what that means is that when two people figure out a way to get 50% more screen time than anyone else, you go for it, even if it makes you look like a bitch for doing it.
Interesting. Kind of sounds like you picked up on what the producers are looking for, which isn't really difficult to do, if you've been on TV a lot, and kind of pull a Fifi O'Hara, Sharon Needles type of thing on season 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race to get more TV time. I applaud you. Kudos, mama, for sharing, for spilling. And that other person, I'm guessing, is probably Genciana. I'm going to go on a limb and guess because Pejmina kind of said some snarky things, both of you back and forth, but it wasn't to the extent of you and Genciana. I was expecting a full-on brawl, a full-on backstage fight. Producers were going to have to step in and break it up. Was all of that planned? Every minute detail planned to do that, to get TV time? Because if so, I am impressed. I'm going to be taking notes.
It was planned in the sense that I really did just want to dress like Bambina for the iconic Queen Runway Challenge. And I didn't feel like Genciana should go out and look like the obvious cosplayer that she is.
Now I'm kind of confused because this really sounds like, in wrestling terms, you're doing a good job of maintaining kayfabe. You're definitely, you're as the face character, you're not associating with the heel outside of wrestling. Congrats, awesome, way to go. But I'm also confused because you alluded to the fact that you worked together to get more time, so it was a shoot, but you're still kind of referring to her as a cosplayer. So does that mean that the two of you did work together to get more screen time, but ultimately you didn't respect each other's drag?
There was definitely tension working with her, but it's a competition, so there was tension working with everyone. Cyanide was snippy with people, and Lumina wouldn't stop singing that goddamn Cliff Racer song. Of course, you didn't get to see them act that way, but you did get to see Genciana try and act like a Saturday morning cartoon villain and try sabotaging me. That was real.
So what I recall was her master plan was to shirk all of her team leader responsibilities onto you because she was like, oh, I'm not proficient in English or whatever her excuse was. But you are such a great team leader, and then, you know, I guess hope that the team bombed and then blame you for it, which she did end up in the bottom, but it wasn't any of your doing. I mean, you did well. I mean, you and animatronic both did like amazing.
Yeah, she legitimately tried getting me placed in the bottom because of her shitty choreography and acting skills. Like, how is that my problem? As team captain, I can't magically make you a better actor or dancer. All I can do is assign you a fitting part and direct you. That's it.
Which is funny because when it's all said and done, she was still the team captain. You didn't have to do any of that. But it was like, obviously you wanted to win. You know, I mean, I watched the episode and it was like she was just, nothing was happening until you were like, okay, I'll take the reins. I mean, clearly it's what I mean, she thought that you were going to like completely screw up and egg would be on your face and Morgyn would be like, oh, you know, it's your fault. And ended up being, yeah, Gentiana, you're the loser here. And to everybody's benefit. Well, except for Beryl Jade Blige, unfortunately.
I will say this about Gentiana. While I do respect her drag, it's her choice of execution that I don't like. Like, for example, the finale, she wore the same exact dress she wore on the Dynastic Queens episode with just a different wig and maybe different makeup and earrings. That's it. Lazy drag.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I pointed to the screen. I was like, oh my god, she wore that. I didn't have my like computer handy to just scroll through and find it. I mean, I don't like browsing the internet on my phone, but I knew she had worn that dress before. And you bring that up, Dynastic Queens. That is exactly it. The Nighttime Soaps Challenge, and I'm like, that is such a faux pas to rewear the same thing. And I think last season Zoara did the same thing, only more bizarrely. She wore, it might not have been the same dress owned by Argyle Alexis, but she wore a very strikingly similar dress. And I'm thinking, oh girl, no. Why not just go and wear something by the same designer but a different dress? You know what I mean? So it's not like people are going, oh, copycat, Queen's got no talent.
I am so attentive about what I wear, down to the most minute detail. You would never get a faux pas like that from me. Like, you can go back and review all of my looks I wore for this season now that's over, and you'd see that I never wore the same thing twice.
So, again, now that everything's all said and done, the season's over, who do you feel like you clicked with the best, and who do you feel like you absolutely did not get on with, like, at all during the whole competition?
I definitely did not click with Planchette. She was too wishy-washy and weird, and it felt like she kept falling back onto a victim of stereotype facade. I like Pashmina's drag, even though it was way too goddamn pink for my taste. I could take or leave Lady Kaguya as far I'm concerned.
Ooh, Lady Kaguya, right. You know, she started off really strong, and in her promo and everything, she looked really interesting and looked like, you know, oh, she could be a contender. You know, she could be, like, possibly, she was giving me big winner vibes. And early on, it seemed like she had that edit. And I think that production really dropped the ball with her. I think she dropped the ball with herself. And production was like, and Morgyn also, not, you know, guilt-free in this. Rather than just be like, okay, it's your time to go, they were like, well, we set her up to be big. We can't go back on that. And so they just double down on it. Do you feel like it was brought up during the reunion and kind of like Morgyn was a case of telling on themselves? Like, Morgyn outright even basically implied she went out of her way to save Kaguya 3 times and keep her there. For what? She didn't even go to the final lip sync.
It's weird. Like, I kind of understand Morgan's reasoning for not eliminating her during Snatch Game because of the guest judge and that kind of emotional heart-to-heart they had on camera, which the optics of eliminating her immediately after would have looked bad.
Let me just ask you flat out, do you think that Kaguya was saved multiple times out of favoritism from the judges or production even? Like there was meddling going on? I honestly felt like even Snatch Game probably would have been her time to go home.
I think Kaguya is a talented queen. I think her drag looks could use an overhaul in terms of aesthetic appeal. But I do think that for whatever reason, Morgyn, and to an extent, production was unwilling to let her go at any of the intervals where it would have been fortuitous to do so.
You know, I heard from an anonymous source that each time Kaguya was in the bottom, she cried hysterically, like out of control, full out ugly crying. Like from what I understood, during Snatch Game, she actually was eliminated, but they reversed it. Or maybe not Snatch Game, maybe it was... I think originally she was eliminated by... Well, not by... She was eliminated with, alongside Yoshka, at the very weird semi-final, pre-finale thing, the Golden Glamazons, like, sudden death entrapment thing. That's what I call it. So weird. And she just, like, broke down. And then Morgyn was like, no, we'll just send Yoshka. Like, how fucked up is that? Like, 2 queens were supposed to go at that interval. Okay, it sucks, whatever, but at least Misery Loves Company would have been 2 queens. Yoshka had only 1 bottom placement. Technically, Kaguya had, like, 2 or 3 bottom placements. And had been, like, coasting. Not saying Yoshka was knocking out of the park, but... You know, everybody knows she's an assassin. If she went up against Kaguya, she would have sent her ass home. And the whole lip sync against Gentiana to Conga on Snatch Game, that was a formality. She wasn't going to go home.
Yeah, I can confirm that the crying did indeed happen each time she was up for elimination. She was only actually saved from being eliminated at the finale. Kaguya, wait! You saw it yourself.
Now that the finale has come and gone, and you were removed, eliminated from even lip-syncing, participating in the finale lip-sync for the crown, you were eliminated alongside Kaguya. That has got to feel like a low blow, and I'm not trying to shit on her or anything, but she really should have gone home a long time ago. Like, again, it was like a situation like Season 3, we get to about Episode 8, we have too many queens still, and then Episode 9, it's like sudden death, and we got a reunion packed in there. We've got a sudden death elimination at the beginning, then we've got pre-lip sync elimination. I mean, you've got to feel like shit from that and feel embarrassed.
It sucks because I was technically never in the bottom this entire season, and as for the spectacular, we all had to lip sync, and I sent 2 of those bitches home. It sucks because it feels like all of my achievements and progress that accrued for the season were diminished the moment I was announced alongside Kaguya. Like, really, Kaguya, I should have been allowed to lip sync because if we're going off track record, mine was looking better than Pashmina's and Miles better than animatronics. But such is life, I guess.
Now we're going to pause for a brief commercial break that's totally not fake, made up, fictitious in any such way, and taken from a video game. And we're not using it as an excuse to visit the vending machines or the bathroom or to go outside and smoke.
You do everything in your car, from talking to friends to watching a movie to turning tricks with a coworker. So why should you get out of your car to eat? At Up and Atom, we're from a time when America didn't worry about global warming, cholesterol, or who could vote. Drive into Up and Atom today. Up and Atom, food from when we were morally superior.